If you haven't already conquered the current Alliance War showcase in MCOC, then allow me to show you what domination looks like. Today, we're going to let the 7-star rank 4 Jean Grey run wild on the right-hand side of this map. She's going to take the entire thing in one go completely on her own. It's a little bit ridiculous. And we're going to kick things off with this Elsa Bloodstone, who isn't technically on the right-hand side of the map, but she does rip it to shreds. Now, Kabam played quite a nice trick here. They gave her the recoil mastery, so if you don't run a mutant character, then you get degenerated off the face of the earth. But you can just bring Jean Grey, and you're going to see you can just do this. Yeah, doesn't get much more conclusive than that, does it? Now, that was 26 seconds. When I did this quest to the left-hand side, that fight duration was 21 seconds. So that's conservative, alright? You can go even faster than that. Talking of going ridiculously fast, roughly the same thing is going to happen to this HitMonkey here. So this HitMonkey has Ebb and Flow Knockdown, obviously playing into his defensive kit quite well. He also has Aggression Precision, which is weird considering he lands guaranteed crits. But we also have an Invulnerability boost just in case things go tits up. Not gonna matter in this video, right? Jean just absolutely destroys it. We're gonna chuck off an SB1 here. And while we have a passive parry stun to avoid any sort of parry purification bollocks, we don't have a way around that evade. But thanks to Coda going unblockable, we just carry on our merry way. We build up to an SB2, and I'm gonna throw a heavy attack in a second. Yep, we're gonna back off, land a parry, throw a heavy attack, and I'm gonna intercept him with this SB2. And I mean, you already saw what happened from the intro. That's, again, a little bit nutty. We had well over 100,000 health of overkill there, and down again in less than 30 seconds. It gets more challenging, trust me. Trust me. Right, so we have this Null up next, and Null is obviously annoying. He's Null. He does have a node where he places some severe debuffs on you, so that curbs the effectiveness of some purified champions. And he also has this really irritating node where whenever you cross a bar of power, he places a taunt on you. Now, this is quite an interesting interaction, because when you apply an uncanny effect to Jean, she changes where a bar of power is. So for her to throw a special attack, it's cheaper. But the standard definition of a bar of power still applies. So technically, what you're going to see in a second is I can throw an SP2 without being affected by this 40% taunted, which is quite nice. So you see here, I'm going to bait out the SB2, I'm going to punish it with a heavy attack, my special attack becomes cheaper, and that is full damage, right? You know, that isn't affected by the taunt whatsoever. Thanks to willpower, we're healing all the way up, back up to 100% health. This guy doesn't completely obliterate your healing with despair, thankfully. So now we have 18 Neuroshocks ticking on this guy, and while he isn't dead, he certainly, you know, gets back up compared to the other two defenders we've so far faced. He's going to be very dead very, very soon. So we bait out another SB2, and now I think I'm just going to rinse SB1s until the end. I don't think there's any reason not to. And you can see there, just a few hits into block really decimates my force field, right? These guys hit stupidly hard. Now, I think I genuinely thought I had an SB2, but thanks to the Darkness passives, he decreased my combat power rate, which is very annoying, but another combo, and he goes down. So, all of that nonsense, and he was still less than 90 seconds. Up next is a Lumatrix. This is by far the hardest defender on the path, not necessarily the hardest fight. But actually, no, I'm going to say this is the hardest fight on the path. This guy has Mixmaster, this guy has Ticking Time Bomb, he has everything going on, which makes him a very challenging defender. We're going to get into why that's challenging in a second, but basically you have to watch out for the order of your combo, otherwise you get evaded, and that's just not nice. That Obstinate Charge means he's more likely to throw a heavy attack, which allows him to gain an evade charge because he's Lumatrix. But thanks to Jean Grey's passive parry stun, we completely bypass that, and that's quite nice. We also completely bypass the invisibility from his SP1. Now, you need to manage your combo, because if you don't, you won't be able to punish his special attacks. He'll just evade. And what that means is you won't gain the benefit of the tactic, Coda, which means that his unblockable is transferred to you. Now, this is a bigger problem when you fight Lumatrix, because say you push him to an SB2, he still has the ability to throw off that SB1, thanks to him being an idol with the Fractured Power Bar. So this means you have to deal with an unblockable SP1, which potentially has guaranteed critical hits. And you just don't want that, right? Lumatrix hits stupidly hard. He hits ridiculously hard. So you're going to see this fight, I just take it very conservatively. Now, I did do a practice run before this, and I will say it is possible to avoid ticking time bomb. However, if you have to take one detonation, it deals 35% of your max health. Deal with it, right? You can see here, it's going to happen before the end of the fight. It will happen at some point. Here, I just go for the parry, yeah. And we lose 35% health. It's really no big deal. Jean Grey only has one more fight after this, and it's not as bad as this one. It's a bit slower, but Lumatrix goes down. Again, I believe that's less than 90 seconds. Yeah, it is. 1 minute 27. And the final fight I'm going to show today, short and sweet today, is a Medusa. So this Medusa has obviously all the usual bollocks going on with Medusa's auto block, but she also has make a stand and one eye open. That's just annoying. She also has something else. I think that's, what's that? Some sort of buff node that gives her more attack rating. So that's something, I guess. But what we're going to do in this fight is we're going to employ the Coda tactic to completely bypass her unblockable. Any tactic attacker can technically do this. But yeah, what you're going to see here is she's going to throw off an SB1, and despite her having 3 Furies, we go straight through her unblockable, her auto block rather, because we are unblockable. And we're just going to use that throughout the entire fight. Now, because of one eye open, I don't really want to be parrying this guy, but that's not much of a problem, right? I do parry her once, just then, but I just back off, I say, okay, you got me, and we move on with the fight like normal. What's important is we keep punishing her special attacks. Medusa, really easy to do that. So here I'm going to knock her down with a heavy attack to disable protection. And unfortunately, while the first hit lands, she auto blocks the rest of the SB2. So that's a lot of damage down the drain. Very, very annoying. Try to disable her auto block before throwing a special attack. I recognise that's quite difficult to do. What with lining up the relic, with one eye open, with the auto block, with your special attack, with everything, I know. It's better just to take this slowly and get through it than risk anything. Even if this is the last fight you're using Jean for, these guys hit stupidly hard, as I hope I've shown with the damage they're doing even through my force field. You don't want to slip up, because if you slip up against these guys, they're almost guaranteed to wreck you very, very quickly. It's kind of like clipped and wrecked. And it is like 2 hits, 3 hits, and they'll kill even a 7-star rank 4. So here I am going to knock her down with a heavy attack. Again, going to chain into this relic. And here you can see, while the first hit of the SB2 lands, the second hit gets auto-blocked. It's exactly the same thing, right? It's almost impossible to line that up unless you take some damage with one eye open. But here, we're just going to rinse her with SB1s for the rest of the fight. She is basically dead at this point, although I remember her being slightly more resilient than I like. Yeah, the protection comes back. I throw a full combo, and it's not going to kill her, and that's just really annoying. Brother, throw the special. Come on. Right, there we go. Right, and another combo should do it. No, she's healing from willpower. Of course she's healing from willpower, but an SB1, there we go. There we go. Right, and that's about it for Jean Grey. However, I will show a picture of the map with just my general thoughts, my guide, if you will. Basically, if you have Jean Grey, Kate Bishop, and Crossbones, you're set. You know, that is the holy trinity of just embarrassing this Alliance War Showcase. You can get some insane rewards from having 3 characters, right? Every single one of these fights, no sweat. We've got 2 Hazard Shift fights with Crossbones. Very, very nice. Kate Bishop embarrasses the left-hand side and the boss and the Nova, and Jean Grey covers the rest, right? They are amazing. Now, while this was a shorter video, I do have some great content on the horizon. I recently took Sentinel to 7-star rank 4. I am so excited for that video. I love Sentinel. And I also just took Patriot to rank 3 in preparation for his tune-up, and I have some interesting things in the works for him. So if you do want to see that, then make sure to subscribe. Look out for that on the channel. But that is just about all I have for you today. So if you have made it this far, then congratulations. You have an attention span greater than that of a goldfish. And bye-bye.